Good morning, YouTube. My name is Alan, and it's time once again, let's talk metal. Today, I've got a fun batch of 4 European heavy metal singles from the 1980s to talk about. These are bands that left some excellent tracks in their wake, but they never went on to fame or fortune. Only one of the 4 bands even made a full-length album. They each made some demos, and they each made one single, and those tracks have gotten a little bit buried by time and dust, and that makes them the perfect candidates for me to talk about here on the Let's Talk Metal YouTube channel. So without further ado, let's jump right into our first candidate for the night. It's a band from the Netherlands that went by the name Sword, as shown here on the picture sleeve from their 1983 single. Not the most original moniker for a band. I have seen the design logo done a little bit differently on some websites, so they may have changed this up a little bit later on. But yeah, they made this one single in '83 that pairs the tracks Excalibur and I've Been Trying. And let's go ahead and check out a clip from I've Been Trying. Then we'll talk just a little bit more about Sword from the Netherlands. All right, there's a little bit of I've Been Trying by Sword out of the Netherlands. Cool song, has a nice catchy chorus to it. The flip side, Excalibur is a much faster number, more speed metal. It's a bit rickety in structure. You can tell the guys maybe aren't quite used to playing that fast and having a little trouble holding it in the road. Again, not a bad song. Kind of a cool band. You don't see this single very often anymore. Collector friend Matthias over in Europe helped me get a hold of a copy of this several years ago. So Matthias, if you're out there, thank you very much. And yeah, the band didn't record a lot more material. There's a few demos from that same era, but they never really got, the big breakthrough record deal or anything like that. None of the members went on to be in other projects, really, to my knowledge. If they did, they remained pretty small-time affairs. Sword's pretty emblematic of a lot of the metal from the Netherlands region. I've talked about some of these bands before on the Heavy Metallurgy stream I do with Marty over at the Marty Worm channel. It's been a while back at this point, but we had Simon from the Explosive Action channel on, and we each talked about bands from different regions. I talked about bands from kind of Central Europe, Netherlands, Belgium, and such. And yeah, a lot of those bands, they seemed to have trouble getting enough attention or enough label interest to make it over the hump. They tended to get maybe like one privately pressed item out on the market and some demos, but very few of them made it to sort of the next level in the heavy metal underground, which is a shame because some of them had a lot of talent. The Sword single is cool. I like it. It is not the tightest music ever recorded, but it's still a good listen and one to keep an eye out for if you're out at record shows or stumble across it online. All right, for entry number 2 tonight, we're going to stay in the Netherlands, and we're going to stay in 1983. Hell of a coincidence for Vault's Hell of a Block single. This band, well, let's just go ahead and check it out. It pairs the tracks Burning Eyes, and I'm forgetting what's on the flip side at the moment because it's early today and I haven't fully woken up, but I wanted to get this video done and out there so that folks could enjoy it. So let's see, checking everything over here. Sorry, got to move things around a bit. But yes, we've got, yeah, it's just called Hell of a Block, and the flip side is Burning Eyes. And so we will check out a clip from the track Burning Eyes.
You told me lie. Hey you with your burning eyes. Hey you know it's really nice. You know it is so matter, but I will still forget her. Hey, hey, you with your burning eyes. Oh yeah, she's going with me. Oh yeah.
So yeah, there is Vault grinding one out with Burning Eyes off of their only single. Now, Vault did get a full album release out in 1983 also. It's pretty good. I have not heard it in quite a while. I don't own a copy of it, but it's a pretty good album overall. Really always liked the single though. Just thought it was sort of a unique cover, unique title for a song. And I like this sort of low, rumbly, almost gravelly sound they've got to it. Gives it some extra weight, some extra heft. Makes for a really cool outing. The flip side's also a good track. So both Burning Eyes and Hell of a Block, nice outing. The band did do some demos, but once again, they never had an official follow-up release after the album and the one single came out. Demoed material, but apparently just couldn't get any label interest. Now, Vault has gotten the anthology treatment in recent years, so you can look for a Burning Eyes anthology collection if you'd like to check out more of Vault without having to track down the original items. The single I've never seen come up very much. The album also not one you see listed an awful bunch. I don't know what they sell for these days, but the music is pretty cool. Just another good example of Netherlands band with some talent, had some potential, and just kind of got lost in the mix of mid 80s European heavy metal stuff. All right, so for single number 3, we're going to move over to Denmark, which of course has had some pretty major heavy metal exports over the years. This sadly was not one of them, but it was pretty good. It's a band called Kimsix. Uh, the Kimsix was the vocalist shown on the picture sleeve, and the single pairs up the tracks Warrior and Bang Your Head. Not the most original song titles, perhaps, but before we pass judgment, let's go ahead and check out a clip. This will be from the track Warrior. All right, there's Kimsix belting out Warrior, subtitled Whip Your Horse, but just says Warrior on the labels. Very cool single, very strong. The main riff there obviously owes a lot to a certain new wave of British heavy metal outing. I'm thinking hints of Raven perhaps there just a bit. But nevertheless, done really well. I like the fact that they actually bothered to put in a couple of little sound effects with the horse and the galloping noises. Those kind of things are trivial to do today. By 1985 standards, that probably took a little effort to get those worked into the recording. Um, Kimsix, another one that has some demo material out there. They have gotten an anthology treatment with the demos and the single collected, but they never got a full album deal at the time. Metal Archives states that Kimsix herself has passed away. None of the band members showed up in other big name bands or went on to any kind of rock stardom in the heavy metal underground. But both songs on this are very good. The flip side, Bang Your Head, is also very, very strong. Yes, it's a generic title. You can probably already guess where the song is going to go. Very fist pumping, sing along kind of thing. But it's done in that same very forceful style, strong new wave of British heavy metal vibe to it. Really like it. Both tracks are pretty damn good. Always kind of liked the logo they used, very sort of Metallica influenced with the spiky designs and such. The only thing I never got about this was why they had sort of this weird blurry picture of her on the front. The picture I showed on the back picture sleeve was more interesting. I've seen some other promo shots of the band that looked pretty good. There's one where she's like holding a small hatchet in true Lizzie Borden kind of fashion. So I'm not sure why they went with this particular one for the front of the sleeve. It's a little weird being kind of blurry or out of focus. Maybe that's on purpose. Maybe it was a mistake. You never know with these very small time releases. Nevertheless, although the name may be a little strange and the picture may be out of focus, it's a very badass little single. So if you stumble across it or you see that anthology collection, hey, you may want to check that one out. All right, our fourth and last entry for the night is another Danish band. This is going to be a single from 1986. This one came up in a recent heavy metallurgy stream discussion where Necrotic Nick from the Thralls of Metal channel joined Marty and I to talk about art. And for like the first 3 hours and 55 minutes, we talked about art we liked on old heavy metal albums. We were focused in particular on artists and showing off some of their pieces that we really liked. And then at the very end, the last 5 minutes or so, we kind of went off script and talked about a few just really, really bad covers that we just always got, a chuckle out of, how weird or crazy or awful the art was. And I always have two items I go to for that. And one of them is a single from Denmark from 1986 by a band called Rundy. And their single with I always refer to it as, the carnivorous lettuce man alien artwork. Now, you got to be pretty comfortable with your true metal street cred to go putting this on the cover of your single. I mean, you've already named your band Randy, which is kind of handicapping your odds of ever making it big. And then you put this guy on the cover. And if nothing else, you'll get people thinking, what the fuck's up with this? The name is bad. The art is hilarious. But how does the actual music measure up? After all, it is the music that matters. Well, let's check it out. We're going to start with the A side. I'm going to play a clip from both sides on this one, actually. So this will be, get over to the right clip. We'll start with a clip of Shadows Are Falling, which is a little pacier number.
Woman, I need you, oh, how could you leave me? I never make it on my own. And I never lied to your baby, forgive me if I'm misleading you wrong. Day after day I've been waiting for you, girl. How can I get you off my mind? There must be a reason for you're turning your back on me. You never gave me a sign. Shadows are falling on me, got the night, but I'm still on my own. Counting the days and I hope and I pray just for you to come home. And I feel like dying. I feel like crying.
All right, that is a kick-ass little tune. Great chorus, strong vocalist. Really love his voice. Great harmonies and melodies throughout there. It's an amazing track. I love that song. But is this one of those one-hit wonder things? Maybe the flip side is kind of lame. Well, let's check out a little bit of that too. The flip side is called The Beast. So, okay, here's Randy with The Beast.
See that flame inside, and if you read the lines, you know it's for real. Now your time is gone, you should be on the run, beware, 'cause it's gonna kill. Wow, there's nowhere to run to, and there's nowhere you can hide. If the devil wants you, don't you look into his eyes. 'Cause no one can fight the beast in the night. There's no return from hell, and if you hear the bell, you know it's for real. It's not your fantasy, no, it's reality. Beware, 'cause it's gonna kill. Wow, there's nowhere to run to, and there's nowhere you can hide. When the devil wants you, don't you look into his eyes. 'Cause no one can fight the beast in the night.
All right, absolutely killing it. European power speed metal classic with The Beast by these guys. Don't judge a book by its cover, people. Your parents taught you that since you were a little kid. Let's face it, we're all still bad to do it sometimes, especially when it comes to heavy metal albums. This is one of my favorite European metal singles from the 1980s. Both songs are just fantastic. Can't explain the cover art whatsoever. Can't explain the name of the band whatsoever. Funnily enough, Metal Archives has a footnote saying the band went by a few other names. They changed their name at least twice, reportedly. Randy's the best one of the three because they started out in the early 80s as Grandy, yikes, then switched to Randy because I guess there just wasn't enough room for the G with the lightning bolts. But they stuck around for a few years, but changed their name once more to, wait for it, Slip and Slide. Now, see that I've given you some context. Randy doesn't sound so bad anymore, does it? I don't know what to make of these band names. It's almost like they're trying not to get a record deal, and sadly, they never did. They did record some more demos, and they were active into the late 80s and even the early 90s, reportedly. But yeah, this was their only official release. The one single, it's a hard one to track down these days. It shows up on eBay or Discogs once in a while, but not something you find too very often. But when I heard it years ago, it was like, I've got to track a copy of that down. The picture sleeve is too hilarious, and the record itself is just amazingly good. Now, Randy has gotten the anthology treatment, so you can check out some demos and the single. I believe they've gotten several anthology treatments. I want to double check this because there's something to point out about at least one of them. Let's see. Yeah, the first anthology treatment they got was in 2010, and it was an early release on No Remorse Records. And No Remorse, of course, is gone on to put out a lot of good stuff over the past decade. They've become a pretty reliable label for nice reissues, anthologies, and even some original metal bands. This Randy anthology on No Remorse, though, has extremely poor quality. I bought it essentially as soon as it came out. And as soon as I opened it up and looked at it, I was just like, oh, they fucked this up pretty bad. I don't have it to show anymore because it looked so bad. I just got rid of it. We're talking the CD booklet was extremely pixelated. It was printed extremely dark. The ink was too dark, too thick, and it was literally pixelated. It looked like it'd been run off on like a dot matrix printer or something. Poor job on the booklet, poor job on the tray card. It was a very disappointing package. And I say that because I know other labels had also talked to the band around that time about trying to release the anthology material for Randy. And so, the fact that the label who sort of won the bidding war, so to speak, did such a lousy job on it was really disappointing because I know some of the other labels could have done a much better job on it. And I'll admit that left kind of a sour taste in my mouth regarding No Remorse Records for years afterwards. Now, they did get their act together, improved the quality of their releases pretty rapidly after that, so I'm told. But yeah, if you look for one of the anthology compilations, you may want to look for a different one than the No Remorse volume. There's an anthology that was done in 2019. Let's see what label this one's on. And this one I don't have. This is actually on No Remorse also and has new different cover art. So maybe it is just a reissue of the one they did before. And hopefully this time they got it packaged and did a better job on it. Here's hoping. There's also an EP listed and a live album. Don't know what's up with those. I have not looked into these. The well, this isn't really the time or place to figure them out. But yeah, there's a couple of other releases that have been put out in the past couple of years with Randy material on them that you can check out if you're so inclined. I should follow up on those myself and see if they're just more old material that's been released out of the archives or if the band has done something else. They do not have an active status listed on Metal Archives, so I'm guessing this is mostly older material being put back out for fans. And hey, that's great because the band obviously knew what they were doing. They made two amazing songs on the single. Some of the demo tracks that were on the No Remorse compilation from 2010 sounded pretty good too. Some of them were going a little bit more of a lightweight direction, but still, it's pretty good stuff. So there's more Randy material to check out, as long as you don't mind having multiple purchases by a band named Randy listed in your Discogs history, because they keep track of that. They're going to be able to see that you bought them. You might have to explain to them that no, this isn't as lame as it sounds. This is actually pretty kick-ass stuff. All right, that is it for tonight. 4 obscure singles from the early and mid 80s of the Netherlands and Denmark. So now let's talk metal. In the comments down below, what are some of your favorite European metal singles from the 1980s? There are other bands like these that only got that one slice of vinyl left to sort of establish their legacy with. What are the other ones that you really like? Did any of these 4 catch your attention? And now you feel like, darn it, now I got to go spend more money checking out some of these other weird bands that Alan has unearthed for us to listen to and enjoy. Until next time, everybody take care. And as always, keep banging your head. Just like on the Kimsix single. That's what she says. Bang your head. Do what the lady says.